Okay guys, this is going to be my first video, and this is going to be what if Deku was a true hero. If you know the My Hero Academia universe, you're going to know what Hero Society in that day and age would think of a true hero as. But in this one, we're going to think as a true hero as someone in the Silver Age, Silver Age. So, when Izuku was born, he looks exactly the same, except he doesn't have freckles, and he has like reddish purple eyes. That's the only difference. When he meets Kachan or Katsuki Bakugo, he does not like him. Right at the get-go, he does not like him. He only sees him as a regular person. He doesn't see him as someone that could become his friend. So he just goes like, and walks away. We skip to when he goes to the quirk doctor. Okay, scratch that. We skip to the day before his birthday. And at the middle of the night, Izuku is woken up by a thud. And when he gets out of his room, he sees a man right in front of his dead mother. That's right, his mother's gonna be dead in this one. And also his dad, because in this one he stayed back he wanted to stay back until Izuku was like either 4 or 5. Then he would have to go overseas. But since they both got killed, that won't happen. So when Izuku saw this, in this story, Izuku's dad always had a sword, and Izuku, out of instincts, grabs the sword and immediately goes for the man. And he's using his instincts for this. And his reaction time is like he can react to something like a bullet and block it, dodge it, or slice it in half. That's how fast his reaction time is. And his speed is half of that. So that's just his base stats. At the very beginning of his, when he's born, he had those. That's what he was. Anyway, he went to, since this person killed his parents, he thought of life being not always fair. So, before he thought of that, he killed that person. Then he thought of life is not fair to everyone. Originally, he thought that All Might was a true hero, but after this, he thinks All Might is not a true hero. He is a true hero in this world's eyes. Izuku then says in his mind, I will show this world a true hero. And when night falls, he searches. He goes out. He walks out of the house, taking anything he can for food. He grabs his bag and takes as much food and takes as much food as possible that will survive the longest. Then he goes to the streets. After he'll be homeless for a while. Now we skip 2 years. He's now 6. And since he has 2 years in the streets, on this day he walked around ever since that day, between that time skip, ever since that day, he trained his body and how he uses his sword. And he's made his own style. In the comments below, if anyone's watching this, in the comments below, make up a name for the sword style. Anyway, we see him walking down the streets with his sword on his back, and he hears screaming of a little girl. So he runs over there, and he sees a little girl with blonde hair and 2 ponytails. If you know this person, you know where I'm going with this. Izuku sees a man about to hurt her, so he unsheathes his sword and stabs that man in the back, straight for the heart. And Izuku was right behind the man, so the man did not see this coming. So he dies instantly, without even seeing it happen. And then the girl goes like, thank you. And Izuku's like, no problem. Then he cleans his blade and sleeves it. Then he goes for. Then he holds out his hand to help her up. She grabs the hand, and when Izuku touches her hand, he feels a lot of scratch marks. He feels blood coming from her hand. And once Izuku felt that, he immediately pulled her in for a hug. And in this one, Izuku isolated himself in the streets so no one would hurt him again. But since he did that, anyone who is hurt, he would try to protect as much as possible. And his girl was like, and Izuku's like, Are you okay? Are you okay? In a worried voice. And the girl's like, I'm fine. And Izuku's like, what happened to you to get this many wounds? And she goes like, many people don't like my quirk. A lot of people think my quirk is a villain quirk. And then she goes like, well, what is it? And then she goes like, my quirk makes me be able to transform into anyone with enough of their blood. And Izuku goes like, that is not a villainous quirk. That can be used for intel or spy missions. And she goes like, you really think so? And Izuku goes like, of course. Anyone that anyone's that smart enough would know that. And she goes like, I guess you're right, and pulls back a little bit of her hair got that got pulled down towards her face. And Izuku goes like, get onto my back. And she goes like, what? And he just says, just do it. And she does. And he goes like, so I have a place I could probably bring you to patch you up a little bit. Is it okay if I bring you over there? And she's like, I don't mind. And Izuku goes like, okay then, hold on tight. This might be fast. And she goes like, okay. Then he goes off running. And since he's building up his muscle mass, but making it look like his body is gonna when he gets older, when he's gonna make himself look lean and compact. But to people, they are gonna think that's weak, but he's gonna be very powerful. He's gonna Once he gets to a certain age, he'll have the body masses of Saitama, which is from One Punch Man. And right now, he goes 10 miles per hour. And, and this girl's like, oh, this has. And Izuku's like, I told you so. And Izuku goes like, we'll be there just in a few minutes. Just hold on as long as you can. And she nods her head. We skip 5 minutes and we get to a abandoned building. And Izuku holds onto her very tight and jumps up to the top of the building. This building is only 2 stories, so yeah, he can't jump that. The highest he can jump right now is 5 stories. So Izuku jumps up to the ceiling of this building, and he sets Target down, and he goes like, here you go now. And she goes like, oh my head. And Izuku goes like, sorry, I had to go. I want to get here as fast as possible, so no one would notice me or you. And she goes like, thank you. And she goes like, come on, let's get inside. And she goes like, how? And he goes like this. Alright, here you go. And then she sees a stack of... Then she sees stairs going down. And Izuku goes like, don't worry. This is an abandoned place, so... An abandoned building, so no one will be in here. I made sure of that. Then she goes down the stairs, and it goes down to this... First it goes to the second level, then... He closes that hatch right behind him, and he says, keep going down. And she does. Then she gets to the first floor. And Izuku just... walks down there, and he's like, "Welcome to the place I made a home for myself. If you could just sit right over there, I'll get some bandages." And he walks over to a cabinet. She walks over to a couch, and she sits down. She thinks to herself, "This person is kind. I wonder why." And Izuku, a few minutes later, no, like a few seconds later, comes out with bandages and goes like, and some of that stuff that cleans the wounds. And he goes like, "This might hurt a bit." And he asks for her arms, and she does. Then he puts the ointment on her arms, and she goes like, "Mm." And he quickly wraps the bandages around her arms. And then when he's done, he lays down on the couch right next to her. And he goes like, "So, your parents think that you're quick as wellness?" He asks her this, and she goes, "Yeah." And as you goes like, did you ever run away anytime?" And she goes, "Yeah." "How many times have you done it?" He asks, curious. She says, "2 times." I'm gonna guess that was the second time. Toga goes like, "Yes." "Have your parents abused you before? Or no? And if they have, physically or mentally?" And she goes like, "Physically, mentally." And she goes like, "Alright, yeah, you're staying with me." And she goes like, "Wait, what?" And he goes like, "You're staying with me. And since you are, I would like your name, please." "I'll introduce myself first. Ezekiel Midoriya. Now you." And she goes like, "Talking like I'm okay." And Ezekiel goes like, "Good. Now I have a question for you. Have you ever been into the woods before?" And Toga goes like, "No." And Ezekiel goes like, "Okay, in a few days I'm gonna move to the woods since I've learned enough about the streets. I need to train. I'm gonna be training more on mom in the woods and start living there as well. I'm gonna have you, and I'm gonna bring you with me." And Toga nods her head shyly since she's memorized by his eyes. Then she snaps out of it when she remembers the sword he used. And she goes like, "Whose sword was that?" And Ezekiel's head falls, and he looks down. "It was our father's sword." And Toga goes like, What happened? They make you look so sad. So, see, when I was only 3, somewhere a thief barricade tried to rob the house, but I think, and by the time when I woke up, I saw a thief. When I was 3, when I heard a thud, I woke up and I saw a thief right in front of my parents' dead body. So I used the sword to kill him. And Togo comforts him a little because she feels sad. And and, and Izuku goes like, thanks, but I decided that this world is unfair to some people, especially people like you and me. And I think we might need some sleep. And before we get some sleep, I have a question. Have you ever looked up to a hero before? And Tucker goes like, no. In my personal opinion, I would be thinking that a hero that kind of looks like a vampire would be a hero that you would like. I think he was Flash something. And Tucker goes like, hello? And Ezekiel goes like, never mind. You sure to at least know of All Might? And Tucker goes like, everybody knows about him. And Ezekiel goes like, except the people on the streets. And Tucker goes like, true for that. And Ezekiel goes like, he used to be my favorite hero until the death of my parents. Then I thought he was. At first, I thought he was a true hero, but not a true hero. No true hero would let his enemies escape alive. So I decided to do what he couldn't, what he won't. Kill whatever needs to be killed. I will kill if necessary. And Toto goes like, are you sure? And Ezekiel goes like, yes. For some reason. Never mind. Anyway, we should get some sleep. Since I only have one bed in here, I'll just sleep on the. I'll just sleep on the ground while you sleep on that bed. It's on the second floor, by the way. And she asks, are you sure? And she goes like, I'm sure. Anyway, you should get some sleep. And Tyler hunks him and says thank you. And it goes like, it's no problem. Now let's get some sleep. No, okay. Now he gets to the morning and Izuku wakes up and he still sees Toga asleep. In his mind, he's like, she is kind of cute. And if it weren't for the society, she would be a kind person. We're gonna read it. Alright. I'm gonna work around a little bit until she wakes up. Then I'll go do some workout. I'm gonna do my morning workout. Then I'm gonna make some breakfast. Excuse me. And Izuku does his morning workout, which usually lasts an hour. And Toga's still didn't wake up, so he made breakfast for 2. And when Toga smelled the food, she woke up. And she goes like, rubbing her left eye, and getting out of the bed and walking downstairs. And Izuku goes like, you're finally awake. And Toga goes like, what are you making? And Izuku goes like, pancakes? You want any? And she goes like, sure. And Izuku goes like, well, here you go. And she goes like, thank you. And he goes like, you're welcome. And Izuku thinks in his head, she could be like a little sister to me. Maybe older. Who knows? And Izuku... And Izuku says, Toga, I have a question. Toga says, how old are you exactly? And she goes like, I'm 5. I don't know if this is exactly her age, but I'm going with it. And Izuku goes like, that's kind of nice to hear. We're this close to the same age. And Toga goes like, how old are you? 6. Toga goes like, so you're older than me. Yay. And Izuku goes like, I'm gonna guess you... Anyway, to a different subject, I'm gonna guess you never had any training? And Toga goes like, no. Okay, when we go to the forest, we're gonna start your training. Is that okay? And she nods. And he goes like, okay, well, since I'm pretty sure you have some experience in the streets, we're gonna only be in this city for 3 more days, and we're head towards the woods. All right? She nods her head. Okay. Zuki says, all right, I'm gonna head out for a little bit. If you want to call me, you can. And Toga goes like, what can we do? And Zuki goes like, all right then, let's go. And before they leave, Zuki goes like, hold on, let me grab something. And he runs up to, he grabs his sword and puts it on his back. And Toga goes like, I have that. And Izuku goes like, self-defense. And just in case I need to kill someone again. And Toto goes like, okay, let's go then. They walk around the streets a little bit, and they get this backstory a little bit. This the abandoned building that Izuku started to live at for 2 years. Well, he started to live at a year ago. It's close to the Todoroki's. And on this day, Todoroki Toya burned himself. We're gonna go with the theory that Toya is Dottie. Anyway, back to the story. A few minutes later, we hear screams of agony. And Izuku goes like, do you hear that? And Tucker goes like, I imagine I hear it now. And Izuku goes like, come on, let's find out where that came from. And Tucker goes like, okay. And Tucker halts on Izuku's back and he starts running. Then once he gets to the location he heard it from, he stops immediately and Toga jumps off. And Izuku goes like, hide first. He signals Toga to hide first in a low voice and with hand signs. And she does. And he sneaks around the house and sees a boy with burned up marks around at the bottom of his chin and on his arms and legs. And Izuku when he sees no one but that kid around him or anywhere around in that room, he goes straight for the boy. And he goes like, kid, are you alright? And he goes like, yeah, no, burned my body. Tell me what I guess something, I guess your body wasn't built for your quirk. And he painfully shake his head in a yes motion. And he goes like, alright, let's get used. I'm gonna guess that you wanted approval from whoever your father is. And Toya goes like, yeah, you can have it be a success. And Izuku's eyes go a little bit more to red. That shows us when he's angry, but when he's sad, it's more purple. It's only when he gets a little bit mad. But if his rage if he fully unlocks his rage, it gives him a burst of energy. And in this one, there is something long forgotten. Magic. And in this one, Izuku has a strong amounts of magic, but he can't use it because he doesn't know of magic. So Izuku goes like, Alright, let's get you out of here. Come on. He puts his arm around his shoulder, and Toya does the same thing. So, then Izuku goes like, alright, let's get you out of here. And he immediately puts him on his back, and Toya goes like, what are you doing? Izuku goes like, get ready for a big jump. And he does. Then Izuku jumps away. And he jumps towards Toga, and he goes like, Toga, let's get to the building quick. And she goes, hi. And he heads straight to the building that Izuku and Toga are now in. And Izuku lays him down on the ground, but first he grabs a very comfy blanket and pillow and lays him on it. And Izuku says to Toga, get as many bandages as you can. And some of that ointment I use on you as well. And she goes to get it. And Izuku goes like, first I want to know, what is your quirk? And he goes like, cremation. And Izuku goes like, what is your name? And he goes like, Todoroki. And Izuku's eyes go even redder because he knows that name. He only knows of one type of only one family with that name. And he goes, and Izuku has a little bit of bloodlust because he has killed like 10 people that have done very bad things. So he goes like, he releases like 5% of that blood. He releases 3% of that bloodlust, and he goes like, your father is endeavor, isn't he? And Toya can feel this bloodlust, and he goes like, he gulps and goes like, yes. And Izuku tries to calm. When Toga comes over, she sees that bloodlust and tries to calm him down. And it works. Slowly, but it does. And Izuku goes like, thank you, Toga. I need that. Now, let's get you bandaged up. This probably won't hurt as much as those burns, but it still will. Toya nods his head. Now we skip a minute later, and Toya's on a couch with Toga and Izuku on each side of him, and Izuku's like, so, how old are you? And Toya goes like, 12. And Izuku, no, he would be Actually, he says he's 13, and Izuku gets a little bit more mad because he abused a 14-year-old, and his group goes like, how many siblings you have? I believe he has three more. There are three more of the Todorokis. That would include Shoto. And he goes like, three more? And he asks, does he abuse all of you? And he goes like, yes. Which one is the youngest? And Toya goes like, Shoto, my youngest brother Shoto Todoroki, and I have another brother and sister. I know this. And Izuku bursts, and he squeezes his hand so hard he starts bleeding. And Toya goes like, Izuku? You okay? And Izuku goes like, I'm trying to calm down. I am trying to hold my anger in. It's very hard to do sometimes. Toya, from now on, you are staying with us. Toya goes like, why? And Izuku goes like, you have an abusive father. Life has not been fair to us, to you or us too. So you're becoming one of us. And Toya goes like, okay, so what are your names? You sure don't already know my first name is Izuku, my last name is Doria. And she goes like, and my name is Toya Hamagako. And Toya goes like, okay. Since we're gonna be living together from now on, I should tell you what we're gonna be doing in 3 days. We're gonna be leaving the city for the woods, so we can get. How have you just been training your core or your body as well? And Toya goes like, just quick. And she goes like, alright then. Once we get to the woods, we're gonna start both of your training. Since I know both of you haven't trained that much in your bodies. And Toya, being curious, asks, what's your quirk? And Izuku goes like, I am quirkless. I have trained my body and my sword style. And Toya goes like, you must be good then. If you only had to work on your body and your sword style. And Izuku goes like, you could say that in a very saddened and low voice. Tiger goes to Izuku and hugs him. And Toya asks, why do you say it like that? And before Izuku could say it, Toya says what happened to his parents, to Izuku parents, and Toya feels crazy bad. It's like, I mean, I'm being abused, but neither of my parents were killed, so I don't know how that feels, but I feel sad. Since my family is pretty much dead and I don't have any, as far as I know, I don't have any other family members, why don't you two just pick up the Midoriya name, since you're gonna be living with me from now on? Or we could just be a league of vigilantes. And they both say, I think League of Vigilante works better. And he goes like, alright, alright. Are you two feeling hungry at all? And Toya goes like, I could eat something. And Toya goes like, I'm hungry too. And Deku goes like, alright then, give me a few minutes. And he walks over to the kitchen. And Toya goes like, I wonder how long he's been out here for. Then we get to a day late. Then we get to before they go to bed. And she could go like, while I was outside, out for a little bit, I got a sleeping bag, so I think at least one of us should be able to get some sleep without getting cold. So Toya, I think you should be in the sleeping bag. So I'll get on the bed, I'll be on the floor. And Toya goes like, are you sure about that? And Toya goes like, are you sure you want to do that again? And Toya goes like, I am sure. I want you two to be rested the best. After all, I'm a little bit used to sleeping on the floor since I've been out here for 2 years. And Toya was okay. And Toya was like, in his mind, he was like, 2 years? And Toya goes like, okay. And they both go to bed. And Shiku falls asleep. Alright. Now we get to the third day. And on this day, he makes his workout a little bit longer. In this one, every month he's increasing the hours of how long he does his morning exercise. It started at 30 minutes. Then, like, halfway through every year it'll go up 1 hour. So, like, every month, like, it'll just keep going up until it got to an hour for a year. So, this day, he just left a note saying, I'll be out for a little bit. Breakfast is on the table. No, that breakfast is on the table. And when they both woke up, they smelled food. And went down the stairs. And they saw the note right between the plates. And they go like, okay, so they'll be out for a little bit. And Togo goes like, "Can you take your sword again?" And Togo goes like, "Yeah." What did his sword look like? And she says, and it had a black outline and a white, and the inside of that sword, the inside of the sword blade was white, and the outside of it was black. And the where you hold the blade was silver, and it looked like a katana. And Toyo goes like, "I think that's a good blade." Now we get to Izuku walking around. And Izuku sees someone about to get hurt. And he jumps in. And he blocks this punch. And he goes like, "Are you alright?" And this person just goes like, "Yes," and runs away. And Izuku just looks at the person and punches him in the face and knocks him out. Then we get to Izuku. And Izuku, then a little bit later, we see Izuku on a rooftop, standing on the edge like stained wood. If you haven't gotten that far, I would suggest just not watching this video at this moment. And Izuku goes like, "Society needs to be changed. We just need to change it a little bit, so killing it at the right time is killing it when necessary is possible." Then we get to when it's nightfall. And in this one, basically his senses are heightened. His senses are kind of like Daredevil, but with him having sight. So when it's nightfall, he hears flapping in the. It's windy outside in this at nightfall, and he hears flapping in the wind, and he knows it's not from him, so he looks around for the source, and he finds it. And it's a man with black hair and a scarf with black clothing and a weird type of glasses that have a triangle shaped at the front. And Ishika goes like, "Did you hear that?" Then he tries to remember any hero he remembers looking like that. And since in this one he was a crazy nerd until that day, he popped out. He didn't, and in this one he just didn't look at All Might. He looked at all the heroes. And one day before that incident happened, he popped out on a hero that looked exactly like this person, and he goes like, Eraserhead? I see what's Eraserhead. If his name is that, that must mean he has some type of erase card. And he is screaming. And then when he gets you on Izelda perspective, and he goes like, alright, time to look for any. Since he's a hero that goes out at night, he looks for any crime at night. Then once he heard screaming, and right before he could find out where the source was, he heard a boom, and he looked up to see a black figure jump for where he heard it coming from, where he heard the screams coming from. And since he couldn't see where it was, he thought it was a hero. But when he gets back to Izuku's perspective, and he goes like, I'm gonna do this fast. So Eraserhead doesn't see me that well. And he does it real fast. And it's a guy trying to hurt this child. And this child has blue hair and red eyes. And he has a little bit of chapped lips. And Izuku stops this noxious man out and goes like, kid, are you alright? And he goes like, yeah, I am. Alright. I'm gonna guess you have some type of decay quirk, the way your hands are. And Tamara, well, technically, yeah, this boy, I was like, yeah. Izuku goes like, alright, just grab my hand with just 4 fingers, since I'm guessing it only activates with 5 fingertips touching. And he nods his head, and Izuku grabs him, puts him on his back. Alright, just make sure you don't grab me with 5 fingers, alright? Better yet, just lock your legs. Izuku puts him on his back and goes like, alright, lock your legs in place and I'll just grab your arms. And he nods and he goes like, where are we going, mister? And he's like, to where I live at the moment. And he nods his head. And when before he leaves, he looks behind him and sees Eraserhead. And Eraserhead can only see his eyes and hair, because he's a little bit too close to the darkness to see his whole face. And Izuku goes like, hello, Eraserhead. You'll probably, if you want to find, you might want to try looking in the forest one day. Toodaloos. And before Eraserhead can say anything, Izuku is gone. I get to Eraserhead's perspective after he left. What do you mean by it? Who is he? I'm gonna find out who he is. And since he's been on the street since he was 4 or 3, he's not gonna have that much information on him. Only like his birth certificate. That's it. No quirk assessment thing. Since that didn't happen. Now we get to Ezekiel reaching that household. Ezekiel goes like, when we get here, you're gonna see two other people. Don't worry, they are friendly. There are other two people that I saved once. One of them, have you heard of Endeavor before? And Tamara goes like, yes. And Ezekiel goes like, one of them was one of Endeavor's sons. In a little bit angry voice. And Tamara goes like, why do you say that in an angry voice? And Ezekiel goes like, he abused his children. And Tamara can see why he's angry now. And Tamara goes like, it makes sense. And the girl I saved, where I saw it, she was almost about to be killed by a very big guy. So I saved her, and she was the first one I saved. So, alright, we're here. Alright, you can get off now. He unlocks his legs from Izuku and puts them on the ground, and Izuku drops his arms. Izuku goes like, alright, let's go. Here we go. He opens the hatchet, and Tamara goes like, do you want me to go down there? And Izuku goes like, yes, this is the only, I made it so this is the only way you can get in. And Tamara goes like, okay. And Izuku, right after Tamara goes down, Izuku closes the door hatch. And Toga and Dobby kids down, so they go upstairs and say, oh, you're back. And you brought someone new? So, what's your name? And he says, Thomas Shimura. Then when Ezekiel hears Shimura, it clicks in his mind. Could it be? And he asked Noma, hey Tamara, do you know any of your grandmothers? And Tamara goes like, no. And Ezekiel goes like, boy, do I have a surprise for you. Heck, your grandmother was a mentor to a lot of the heroes of this day. And Tamara goes like, really? And the other two go like, wait, really? Who was it? Who do you think the hero of today is? That was who was the student of your grandmother, Tamara? I'll give you a hint. He is in the top 3. And Choco goes like, Endeavor? And she could go like, no. Then Tamara goes like, allmight? And she goes like, you got it, buddy. And Dobby and Togo go like, how did you know this? And she goes like, I did some digging before. You know what happened? And Toga and Dobby looked a little bit sad. at that. Every time he might. Okay, and this one, every time Izuku talks about that, his eyes go a little bit more purple. And Tamara goes like, "What happened to make you look so sad?" And Izuku explains his beginning, and Tamara feels super sad, just like the other two did. And Izuku goes like, "Well, I know, I'm gonna guess you accidentally used your quirks on either your, I'm gonna guess, either a pet or your whole family. And by the way you look, I'm gonna guess at least your father hated always putting his anger on you for something." And Tamara goes like, "Yes." And Ishiki goes like, "Well, since you pretty much have no family, you're gonna be joining us." And Tamara goes like, "Really?" And Ishiki goes like, "Yep. Since pretty much only gonna be the four of us, we're gonna be the League of Vigilantes. If we ever, and tomorrow we're gonna, starting tomorrow morning, when everybody gets up, all three of you are gonna help me pack up everything in this household. And before we leave, and the day after that, before we leave, we're gonna find any clothes we can find. We may have to steal, but we're gonna have to do it." And Taga and Dobby go like, "Okay." And Tamara goes like, "Okay." And she goes like, "Tamara, are you hungry?" And he goes like, "I'm a little." "You too hungry as well?" And he goes like, "Hi. Alright then, let's start some dinner then." Now he gets here the next morning. They're all, she does his morning exercise, makes breakfast. Everybody smells it. They go down, eat food. She gets his bag ready. And he goes like, "Alright, let's start packing up. You pack up as much as you can. Alright?" And he goes like, "Hi." And Izuku goes like, "Alright, you guys go downstairs and grab anything you can grab. And hey, Tamara, I have something for you." And he goes like, "Yeah? Here." And he throws him a pair of gloves that has two, like, two small spots where he doesn't, where if he uses all 5 fingers, he doesn't decay stuff. And he goes like, "Put those on so you don't decay stuff, alright?" And someone is crying and saying, "Thank you." And Ishika goes like, "No problem. Eventually you're gonna have to learn how to control it. And how to not decay stuff. And since I can tell you haven't trained your body in a day in your life, or your quirk, we're gonna train both of those once we get to a certain location, which will be the woods. Is that alright with you?" And Tamash nods his head in an improvement, and he goes to pick up things in his Zuku, since he already has his blade in a bag. And he knows how to pull apart the bag. He does it. he puts the parts in his bag. He flattens the mattress. This mattress uses air. He grabs the sleeping bag. He puts it in a bag that it was in. Then he grabs as much clothes as he can. Then he's done packing. Shiku places it onto the side and then goes downstairs and sees that everybody got everything ready. And Shiku like, alright. Shiku goes back upstairs and grabs the bag. And he goes back downstairs with the sword on his back. Alright, everybody place all the stuff in one corner. We'll be back at the end of at nightfall to grab all the stuff and leave. You got it? And they go like, hi. Alright, now. Now, we're gonna go to the woods and find a perfect place to make a cabin in, alright? And they go like, okay. And they go like, we will be, once we get to the woods and make a cabin, that will be our base of operations. And I'll go tell you guys something once we get there, alright? And they go like, alright, now let's go to the woods and search for a spot to put the cabin at. And they all nodded though. And see if you being the leader of it, since you created it, he stays in front while Tommy's in the back. Toga's in the middle. And Tomar's right behind Deku with the gloves on. And Shiku goes like, alright, let's do this. Ready? Let's go. A few hours later, like 3 hours later, they find a field that has a few they find an area where in the middle of the forest where no one would go. And Shiku goes like, alright, this place should be fine. Dobby, I think you know what to do. Make enough fires where are you able to control your fire enough for it? You can compress it, make it so it doesn't spread. And Dobby goes like, I'll try. But if I can't, I will use one presser to take out whatever fire we don't need. Alright? And Dobby goes like, okay. And he does it to a certain amount of trees. But when it tries to get all the way out, you could just use one pressure to blow away the fire. And Shiku goes like, alright, I think that's enough for any area for the cabin. Alright. Now it's okay now. Toya. Okay. And as you grabs tiny before we leave. As you grabs pile of sticks that were made of the all those up the trees. And Izuku goes like, alright, let's go. I'll be in the back this time. That'll be you in the front. And he goes like, alright. Still, okay, for a reason he chose that name. Let's go back a little. So yes, since you're gonna be living with us from now on, I think we're gonna need to change your name for now, since we don't want your father figuring out that's you. So what do you think? And Toya was like, how about Dabby? And Toya and Izuku was like, perfect. Now I don't flashback. And they go like, alright, now Dobby, bring us back to the old building so we can get all that stuff. And he goes like, okay. And while they're going to the old building again, Izuku's placing down the sharp sticks to get them up half back to the cabin. Well, to the location. Once they get to the old building, Izuku goes like, alright, let's get all the stuff and go. And they go like, hi. And now we skip. Okay, now we skip to when they get back there. And Izuku goes like, alright, now. Alright, now. Let's find. Darby, do you think you would try to. Hey Darby, do you know how to build a cabin? Do any of you guys do? And Toga goes like, I know how to build a tiny house. And Darby goes like, I know how to do the same thing. And Izuku goes like, alright, both of you build a house together while I look around the woods for a while. And we get to Izuku a few hours later, finding a cave, and he goes in. He finds he finds a brick wall with a door. And then Izuku knocks on it, and the door falls. And then he sees a room filled with books, and Izuku goes like, are these books important? I'm gonna find out. And Izuku goes to pick one of the books up, and he grabs it and looks at the cover, and in this one, it's the basics about magic. And Izuku goes like, magic? I've heard of it once, but I thought it was a mess. Guess we'll find out. And we get to Izuku 5 hours later. He read every single book in there. And now he has elemental magic, alchemy, necromancy, healing magic, all that. And he has light and dark magic as well. Now Izuku goes back and he brings and since he knows, and there's also navigation magic, so Izuku places a mark in his mind of where that location is, and he goes back to the location, and he sees a big enough cabin for the four of them, and he goes like, "Good job, guys. I think that's good enough for now." And then they go like, "Okay," and he goes like, "All right, let's move that stuff in there." And an hour later, they got all the stuff in there and unpacked. And Ezekiel goes like, "Hey guys, I want to show you something I found." And they all follow him back to the cave. And in this one, he's not gonna be the only one that learns magic. Toga's gonna be has the second most amount of magic. Dobby, third, Tomura, fourth. Now we skip to when Izuku is 14, which I think that's the beginning of the anime. And we go to Izuku and the four of them being all together. And Izuku's chopping down wood and hunting. And over these years, Izuku has been training everybody to have to lose limits to get as strong as possible with their quirks and bodies. Tomura with his quirk and body is Dabe with just with mostly his body, and Toga the same. Toga wanted to learn some stuff about blades, so Izuku taught her some stuff about sword styles. About swords. So Izuku has a lot more bloodlust now, since he's been hunting a lot. And now he has bloodlust binding. He has a lot more bloodlust than he has almost the same amount as Stain right now for bloodlust. And Izuku masters everything but regeneration magic, since he doesn't regenerate people much. And there was a book that, and there's one more book that Izuku didn't learn himself, but he let Toga learn blood magic. Since her quirk works with blood, he thought it could work with her. And there was pretty much a certain type of spell for pretty much everybody, but for them, they mastered. For Toga, she mastered the blood magic, everything. She mastered everything but blood magic because she didn't go 100% on that because she wanted to learn that last. Same with Tamura and Dobby. Dobby learned Hellfire, which is basically blue fire. And Tamura learned Decay magic for wanting to complete Decay magic last, with Dobby wanting to do Hellfire magic last as well. So they all have everything mastered except those things for them. Now we get to see going like, okay, over these years they've been doing vigilante work and called the League of Vigilantes, since they're not really being villains. So the people have been calling them the League of Vigilantes. When Yue gets hold of this, and go like, and I when Zoe get heard of this, he goes like, I wonder who one of them was. I wonder who the leader is. We might be able to find out. And Nessie goes like, since it happened, since they started working 7 to 6 years ago, it could be adults or teenagers, who knows? And when Aizawa hears greenish, like, broccoli like hair, when news say that the one of the people up in that group had broccoli like hair, then when they looked in his eyes, they saw purplish red eyes, and Aizawa goes like, and Nessie goes like, you seen it before? And Never goes, Aizawa goes like, yeah, I've seen him once, but don't know his name. Tried to find anything on him, but I couldn't. Maybe you can? And Nessie looks into it. And Nessie goes like, I'll try. And Nessie looks into it. And he finds only one thing about him. Certificate of his birth. And he looks, oh, there's nothing else. I wonder how long he's been a ghost for. How long he's been out there for. Producer Harry goes like, is it possible we could find out where he's hiding out with them? And then he goes like, possibly. And when do they usually do their vigilante work? Which they figure out, and Aizawa goes like, I do not know. I'm just wondering. And Aizawa was thinking in his head, why did he have a sword when I last saw him? Oh, and his vigilante outfit is gonna be his hero outfit. And it's kind of like Saints, but all black. Like Aizawa's. So it's a mix between Aizawa's costume and Stain's outfit. So we get to deku at nightfall. And we see Eraserhead. Watching carefully for any signs of vigilante work. Then he sees a shadow with a scarf. Then he's like, is that him? Then he sees 3 other people with him and he goes like, I got to be him. And he goes after them. And Ezekiel goes like, crap, someone's following us. Quick, we need to find a place to hide. And they go like, hide! And they all try to find a place to hide. And Ezekiel goes like, hate when I'm losing him. Alright. Split into groups. Dolly, you go with Toga. Somewhere, you come with me. No, split. And they split. And since Aizawa can't go after two groups, he goes after Deku's group since he saw Deku running towards the right. Then Izuku immediately goes left before Aizawa could find out which way he went, and since he has blood loss, he can make himself seem invisible to other people. So he can make a bloodless barrier that makes him and anyone around him invisible. So he closes Tomora's mouth and makes him and Tomura invisible. And Aizawa can't find him, so he runs away. Since he couldn't find him in the left, he went to the right. And he released the blood loss once he didn't see Eraserhead anymore. And he was like, alright, let's go to the others. And he nods his head, and they go over to Dobby and Toga. Unnotes to him, Eraserhead swung at the last moment and hit himself. So he won't be seen this time. And he was like, alright, we're heading to base now. Heading back home now. And they're like, alright, since Eraserhead saw us, we're gonna have to go back to the back home. And he goes, alright. And since all of them been in the forest for a long time, they can talk to animals, but not as a quirk or a magic power, just the thing they picked up. And Ezekiel's sword skills are unmatched. Except against Stain. A hero can't match up to him in sword style. Only Stain could match up to him. But when it comes to hand to hand, he is the best. His hand-to-hand combat is like my guy from Naruto. So he is very powerful. When it gets you the woods, and Aizawa follows up for a little bit longer, then when he sees the cabin, he notices a little bit like some hides close to it. Then once he completely sees his UQ, it looks like he has like a bear pelt that covers his body. Well, a bear pelt for the costume that he has, and a scarf that was partially made by someone. And a ninja mask. So Aizawa goes back to UA and informs Natsu of the location. And then this one, Talia is only 15 at this time. And Ezekiel's 14. Talia's 13 and Dobby's 16. So they're all old enough to go to UA. But not too old. And so they could go. Now, when he gets back to you, when Aizawa gets back to UA, he informs Nezu of the location. But he can't remember the exact location though, for some reason. It's like something in that forest that made him forget. So they go like, we'll just wait like a few more months until going after them. And Aizawa goes like, alright. And like 2 months later, they were planning on going 5 months later, but 2 months later, like the pussycats, or whatever they're called, go out for a go into the woods just to hang out. So we get to Ezekiel when he's in Aizawa and Nezu are, well, no, Aizawa came along with them just to take a nap there. So now we get to Ezekiel's the League of Vigilantes perspective. And they're awake and they're all doing training. Then Ezekiel hears yip, yip. And Ezekiel turns around to see a little fox with one tail, with orange and white fur. And Ezekiel goes like, what is it? And he yips. Jakey is attacking people again. And Ezekiel goes like, not again. And they all four, and Ezekiel goes like, not again. And Dobby and Taco go like, what is it this time? He goes like, and Ezekiel goes like, Drake is attacking humans again. And they both flop themselves in the slap on the head. And they go like, alright, let's go get him. Kazuzu. You gotta see where he is, alright? And he does. Then we get to the Pussycats. And they're trying to hold up. Entire is trying to hurt Jake the bear. And in this one, Zuko also trained his brain up to its max. So right now he can use 70% of the max power of the brain. So right now, he's pretty much smarter than Nezu. So right now when they and then they all hear a boy, 2 boys and a girl say Jake. And the bear goes like, and a sad growling noise comes from him. And they go like, what? And they go, they're all confused. Aizawa wakes up from here, from all the noise, and he goes like, when he heard Jake and the bear whimpering pretty much, and he goes like, what? Then they see three people come up to him. Then one person right behind them. And all four of them say, what did we tell you about attacking humans? And he goes like, Real. You need to control your anger more, Jake. As Yuku says. Now, go back to your den. And say hi to the little ones for me. Both Izuku and Toga say. And Jake goes and goes away. And Izuku goes like, alright, which one of you aggravated the bear? And both the pussycats point to Tiger. And they go like, really? And Tiger goes like, why? And he goes like, why would you aggravate a bear? That is stupid. Anyone would know that is stupid. I should just slap you for that. I thought you would be smarter than that. And then he looks down and says, oh, hi, Eraserhead. And Eraserhead, and without knowing, it just says, hey. And he goes like, wait, what? And he goes like, oopsie daisy. Oh, gotta go. Whee! And all four of them go away. And Izuku goes like, and Gaffer goes like, well, I'm going to talk to Nezu when we get back. And the Pussycats go like, what was that? And he goes like, I believe that was the leader of the League of Vigilantes. So we may want to get back to Nezu. And they're like, okay. And they all go back to Nezu, to the U8, to where Nezu is. And Aizawa knocks on Nezu's door, the office door, principal door. And Nezu goes like, enter. And he goes like, and the door opens. Ah, Aizawa, what do you want? And Aizawa goes like, you're not gonna believe this. The vigilante that we looked at before, yes, he can somehow talk to animals. And Nashi was sipping tea and he spits it out real fast and it goes like, what? How is that possible? And so I got like, I have no idea, but so what do you want to do now about him? We can either wait a little bit longer or we can go get him, go get him tomorrow since it's midnight. And then I was like, probably tomorrow would be the best. Then we get to the next day, and I saw it, Nezu, Allmight. No, not Allmight. Aizawa and Nezu are getting ready to go there with just those two, and they go there. And as then when they get close to the woods, Zuko immediately feels a animal walking towards out of this forest, and he goes like, "It's either a new animal coming into the territory, or that is a animal with a quirk." And he warns the others that the possibility of heroes are here. And they go like, "What do we do? Fight or leave?" And we go like, "We fight to the end." And they go like, "Hi! I will show this world what it means to be a true hero." And it's all of them can withstand. All four of them can withstand Izuku's full blood loss. 50% of his blood loss now. Only they can feel his blood loss at 50%, but when it gets to 100, they struggle to. They start feeling a lot of pressure on their bodies for them. Everybody else, when he's at 50%, we're all on the ground. But with Alma, he would be barely standing. So when we get to Nezu and Aizawa getting closer to the center, she could go like makes his voice echo throughout the woods and goes like, "Who dares enter my woods?" And he makes it so he can hear throughout the woods as well. Don't listen. They keep going. They're kind of talking to each other. And then she goes like, "Do you know how they're able to do that?" And Aizawa goes like, "No, we have no intel on them." And Izuku goes like, "You know I can hear you, right?" And Nezu gets spooked. And he goes like, "Eek." And Izuku goes like, "If you want to know, you will have to find out by yourself." And so Nezu tries to do that. And Aizawa gets ready for a fight, which he might get one. If Nezu wasn't there, he would have gotten one immediately. Izuku goes like, "It is time." And he steps down, and he's pretty much meditating in mid-air because he's learned enough magic and almost. He's gotten 71% of his brain percent He got 71% of his brain unlocked, so he can barely do telepathy, do telekinesis, where he can float items or pull them or push them like away from you. So when they get close, Suki lets out 1% of his blood loss. And then she goes like, I wonder what that is. Then when Nezu sees Izuku and the other three, he goes like, how long have you guys been out here for? And Izuku goes like, I would say when I was around 6, since now I'm 14. So I would say 6 or 7 years. And then she goes like, dear me, that is a long time. And then she goes like, no, what is one of the, I'm pretty sure the principle of a UI doing here. And then she goes like, how did you know? Your scent. It smells of many humans. And Nancy questions, humans? Come on now. You expect me to act more human than animal? Heck, you're a literal animal, so you should expect this. And then she goes like, true. I wonder why I didn't think of that. And she goes like, maybe because I'm a little bit smarter than you. That could be a possibility. And then she goes like, could be. Or I just didn't think of it. She goes like, true. That could be it too. Now, are you here for a fight? Or an investigation? Which one is it? And that's who is, and both of them are strong about this. When I heard negotiation, and Nezu automatically chose negotiation because he really didn't want to fight, and Aizawa just rolled with it, and Suzu goes like, smart choice. And Aizawa, your quirk wouldn't have worked on me if you tried. After all, you can't work on a quirkless. And Aizawa and Nezu are shocked that he is quirkless. And Aizawa, if you're wondering how old I was when you saw me, I was like 6. So, yeah. And Nezu goes like, when was the first time you saw him? And Shuko goes like, I can answer that for you. It was when I saved this one. And he points at the blue hair. Let's just tell her. And Nezu goes like, interesting. Why did you save him? It is what a true hero does. And Nezu thinks of allmight. So your ideals are similar to allmight. Similar but different. And Nezu's confused by this, and he's like, Please continue. And Zero goes like, I think of a true hero of someone who does what's necessary, even if it's killing. So I decided that I needed to change this world's ideals for heroes. So for when the time is right, some people will actually will kill if necessary. And Nazu thinks on this and goes like, why do you think of this? And Ezekiel goes like, trauma. And Ezekiel goes like, one word, trauma. And Nezu gets a shiver down his spine. Because he had trauma before. Because if I remember correctly, he was experimented on. And Izuku goes like, I see if you had it as well. Seeing that you're an animal, I'm gonna guess experiments. Am I right? And Nezu had nodded his head slightly. And Izuku goes like, and it's a good thing you picked a fight, because I know secrets you wouldn't want to be exposed. Like a certain injury on someone. And Nezu in Aizawa's eyes widen. And Izuku goes like, by that expression, I think you know who I'm talking about. And yes, my people know who I'm talking about as well. In fact, two of us used to be friends of his to a certain point in time. So I'm gonna guess, since of our capabilities, I'm gonna guess you're gonna want us in UA, yes? And then she goes like, yes, I was thinking of that. So what do you say? And Izuku goes like, as long as we are able to do, as long as you'll allow us to do what we want to do, I will allow it. Because I will not, because if it comes to a fight, I will protect the ones I have saved. Even if I have to put my life on the line. And he puts this in a deeper tone. And Nezu kind of likes it, and he goes like, as long as you don't kill out with no reason, I don't mind. And Aizawa goes like, but Nezu, and he goes like, my choice. And Izuku bows his head like a samurai. I think a samurai would. And he goes like, thank you, Nezu. Now, Dabi, Toga, Tamura, come here. And they all come over to him. And I go like, this is the crew that I have built up. Here's Toga, Dabi, Tamura. And there's me, Izuku Midoriya. I will not tell you their last names because I'm pretty sure two both of you should know at least this. Both of you should at least know one of their fathers. And Nezu, I'm pretty sure you should know one of their grandmothers, if you know what I mean. And Nezu gives a question look, but let's decide for now. And he goes like, no, I think we should pick up. No. Dobby, Toga, Tamara, get the stuff ready. We're moving. And I go like, where? Where the... And Ezekiel goes like, with them. And they go like, are you sure? Yes, I am sure. As long as they don't hurt us or put collars on us, I'll be fine. And he put this in a very angry tone and brought up sound like 5% of his bloodlust, which put some pressure on Nezu. And he goes like, oh dear, he does not like that dude. Like, does he? And Nezu just goes like, let's just say someone tried to do that once and it got their neck snapped. And he goes like, got it. No collars, got it. Alright. So, how long do you think this will? How long do you think this will last for? And Ichigo goes like, an hour or two. So, you want to speak at that time for that time? Oh, do you have any tea by any chance? Ichigo asks. And Nezu kicks one of his ears, pikes up by this, and he goes like, tea? Yes, do you have any tea by any chance? I do like some tea sometimes. Calms me down a bit. And Nezu grabs some tea and he goes like, I have some tea right here. And he goes like, perfect. Toga, can you toss me a teacup? And she goes like, yes, you can. And she tosses him a teacup and he goes like, thank you. Now, where's the tea? Now, let's have some tea. Nezu asked a little bit about Izuku's past. Izuku just pretty much told him at the very beginning of it. Nezu felt some pain when he heard that, because it was almost like his, but different in a different sense. Death and experiments are different, but feel the same. And Nezu goes like, you must have had a hard time with it in the beginning. I did. But by the time I saved the first one, looking at Toga, I got a little bit over it. By the time I got all three of them, I mostly got over it. There's just one hero, and when Nezu asked about what his favorite hero was, and Ichigo puts the weight on what was, and Nezu goes like, why is that? Ichigo goes like, I used to analyze Nezu, but in the end, I've seen that life is unfair, so I've wanted to make it so only a true hero survives this world. Only a true hero survives this world greatly. People only like, I don't know, King Arthur were able to survive because of the way they acted. And that's you got agreed with that. And 2 hours later, an hour later, Saul packed up and Zuko goes like, alright, do I have a question? Do you have anything that could shrink the size of these items? And Zuko's like, no, not here. Maybe at UA. And Zuko goes like, alright, you guys ready? And they go like, yes. Alright, have me a few things. Oh wait, I almost forgot. And Zuko starts chanting and his swords come straight towards him. And Zuko goes like, what is that? And Zuko goes like, you will know soon enough. Once I get that certain item that I wish to use, which I'm going to use on certain items in a cave that I only know of the correct location of. After all, I think I've been the first one in centuries to find it. And then she goes like, centuries, eh? And she goes like, yes. It was a brick wall with a door on it, and when I knocked on the door, it just fell over. And then she goes like, I see. And then she goes like, now, I believe it's time to go to that UA. And that's where we're going to leave it off. Like and subscribe. Subscribe if you like this video. And peace.